So thank you guys. So horses don't want to fight with you. They don't want to make you mad. They want to do what's right. They want to figure you out. You just have to be patient enough and teach them well enough what it is you're asking for. So, okay. Let me start with this. Groundwork. I'm going to let you know right now, as much as I push it and tell you it's great, I hate it. Okay, I am built to be on top of them. I like riding them, that's what I like. However, I know that it's the first step for safety. I know that if I can't do it on the ground, I shouldn't be doing it on their back. I know that if I can't walk and do it and control them, I shouldn't be trotting and doing it, If I can't trot and do it under control, then I probably shouldn't be doing it at a lope. Okay, so those are my rules. But trust me, I want to ride. And just when people come to my clinics, I put you on the ground just long enough for you to get it, and I'm like, all right, let's ride. Let's ride. Let's teach you how to ride. And let's be you, not somebody else, not trying to be like me. Let's be you. Let's get that horse attached and understanding you. So, groundwork. Things that I work on. I work on a go-forward cue. My daughter said to me today, "You're going to bring that whip?" Wow, Mom, that's really kind of mean. I don't like the whip thing. I'm like, I know, honey. I don't really whip them. I use it as an extension of my arm on the ground, which is the exact same thing that I use on their back, except for I use it at my... This whip, tapping on him, isn't abusive. Beating him with it is abusive. There's a difference. Okay? Spanking the horse, hitting it one time, going, don't do that, is a spanking. That is not okay. Using it as a cue is okay. So, how I use it, you can use it up on the hip, right up here. Make sure that everybody can see it. So I'll tap up in this area. The reason this area is because that's not as sensitive as down here. When you're hitting down here, this skin is a whole lot more sensitive to a horse. Okay? So I don't tap down there. I tap up here. Or if you don't even like that, or let's say your horse is afraid of whips. People say, no, Brandi, my horse is afraid of whips. All right, grab this, whatever length of a little stick, right? Or your spur in your hand, something like that, and hold it and just bump them in the belly. And when they move, use that as your go-forward cue. You don't have to use a whip, right? And you don't have to go out and buy a whip if you don't want to, because I have bought so many of these, and for some reason, this is what people like to take from me, right? Who here has lost a whip? Right? Why? They're so expensive. This one was $29, right? A stick, free. I have found them, and they work the same, right? All right, so I do not beat a horse with a whatever this is, stick, whip, whatever you want to call it. I tap, I get them to move forward. When they move forward, my whip goes down. I don't want to have to use it, right? In fact, I want the horse to learn that if I just pick up my hand, I want them to move. So that's what I'm going for. So we teach a go-forward cue. We teach the hind end a control, because if they start running away from me, I need to be able to stop them on the ground or on the back. If I move the hips far enough away from me, the front feet will stop. When the front feet stop, I stay alive. I actually have seen a few people fall off a horse standing still. Quite funny, but it's not as bad as when the horse is bucking or running. So, stopping, you have a better chance of riding, right? So, I pull on this rein hard enough to get the hind feet to disengage and stop the front feet. Now you're thinking, well, where is she pulling? How hard is she pulling? Is she pulling up? Is she pulling down? Is she pulling to the side? Is she pulling? Is she pulling? You guys, be you. Remember, be you. Teach your horse you. You pull however you want. Let your subconscious mind do that too. Don't think about where or what or how. Think about, I want the feet to move. The horse will figure out what you want. And then if it's your subconscious mind doing it, and it's not somebody telling you how, then you will be able to repeat it and get the repetition in enough for the horse to learn you. If you try to keep being, like, okay, her hand went here and her hand, you're thinking about all that and you forget about the horse. Okay, so just be you. So I'm going to pull on this rein. I'm going to pull hard enough to get the hind feet to stop the front feet. Tell the horse, good job. Okay, so that's step one. Then I'm going to get control of the front feet. No, don't do that one yet. That one's the next one. All these horses are overachievers. Remember Copper yesterday being a little overachiever? Forrest is going to do the same thing. All right. What I'm going to do is I'm going to start controlling these front feet. I am asking for the front feet to move away from me, like at a diagonal. Did you guys go to the show last night? See all the spectacular people and all that good stuff? Did you see the people that were loping sideways and doing the leg heels and all that? This is where it starts, okay? This is step one of that. This is the beginning of cool, okay? All right, so you're going to you're going to ask your horse to go forward. You have to say go forward first, always. Get them moving. Then, pick up the rein, hold the rein till the front feet move away from you, okay? When the front feet move away from you, release the rein. How that works, or why it works, is as the horse is moving forward, because his nose goes towards this shoulder, naturally his feet are going to move away from, like off at an angle. So I'm not doing anything really spectacular. I'm just manipulating his body to make his feet do what I want them to do, okay? Now you're saying, okay, well Brandi, how do you get their attention? How do you get them to love you? How do you get them to trust you? How do you get their brains? How do you get their respect? I don't get any of that. I don't worry about it. Because you say, but that's not what the industry's saying. The industry's saying get their respect. You have to get the horse to respect you, right? You don't have to get the horse to respect you. Because let me ask you, you're on a cliff, right? You are on this trail. It is 6 inches wide, right? And you have a cliff this side, you have a straight up mountain this side. Are you going, God, I hope I have their respect right now? Right? No, you're going, please walk straight. Please don't turn. Please don't go up this cliff. Ask Craig about going up cliffs, right? I mean, I don't know if you know this, but he's hurt right now. And it's because a horse decided to go up, right? So you're not hoping that you have respect and their love. You're hoping that you have their feet going the direction that you want them to go. Concentrate on feet. Concentrate on getting their feet to do what you want. I promise, once you get their feet doing what you, then you will have their respect. You will have their love. And they will trust you, okay? It just happens. Do I know how? I have absolutely no clue, all right? I just don't, and I don't worry about it, all right? So, horse is walking forward. I pick up the rein. I hold the rein. Ask the feet to move, the front feet to move away from me, and release when they do it. Now you're saying, but wait a minute, I saw her hand go in the same exact place when she moved the front feet as she moved the hind feet. I know. Horses are cool. That's all I can tell you. Horses are cool. Don't try to change things. again, you're thinking about how to change. If you think about the body part you want, you will change enough inside that the horse can feel it. Plus, the cool part about that is if you don't try to change too much, then you won't, and it will be more of a hidden thing, and eventually you just look cooler because they're like, wow. People are watching you and they're going, wow, that person's a horse whisperer. You know, she's just into that person. You know, that horse and her, or him, they have a connection, right? That's what they're thinking. So you're way cooler anyway. So don't try to change too much. Don't be drastic with your cues. Just think about what you want, and the horse will figure it out. Okay, so I have the front feet able to move away from me, right? I have the hind feet able to stop the front. All right, so I have stop, and I have some directional control. The next thing I teach is I teach the hips to come back to me. Okay? Everybody loves this one. Everybody's going to come and talk to me about this. It's super easy. You are going to teach this horse's hips to come towards you, just like that. It is the easiest thing you'll teach your horse, but it is by far what I get asked about the most. And it's super easy. This shit was a little harder because I could like I could charge more money and try to get out of people, but 5 minutes. Okay, so what you do, a horse has been taught for a long time to move away from pressure. That's what we think, right? That everybody who thinks horses move away from pressure, is that true? Right? It is true. But oh, quit. I know, you're like, do something with me, Brandi. That's what the crowd's thinking too. Worry. Horses move for the release of pressure. It's not away or towards pressure. It is for the release of pressure. All right? You want to just run a little bit? All right. Let's get you back under control. Forward. Disengage those hips. Back up. So I'm losing his attention a little bit, his brain. Do I try to get that? No. I try to get these feet back under control. So I'm going through the largest muscle, which is the hips. Disengage the hips. Front feet, go forward. Disengage the hips. Back up the front feet, go forward. There's a little bit better brain. Don't disengage the hips. Back feet, forward. Curtains. Disengage the hip. Back feet, go forward. Disengage the hips. Back feet, or back up, forward. All right. So, where was I at? All right, so you are going, it's not the moving away from pressure. It is moving for the release of pressure. He's like, oh, thank you, Lord. Thank you. I love you. I love you too, Forrest. Call him Forrest Gump.
He's like, help.
Because, hey,
Or not.
you're fine. Go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead. You're fine. You're fine. You big goof. Go ahead. You're fine. Disengage the hips. Get them to stop. Good. Who loves professional choice boots? Yeah, a lot of people, right? Who hates their Velcro? A lot of people, right? Okay. Better? All right. So, the release of pressure is what matters. That's how horses learn to throw their head. That's how horses learn to root their nose out. See, I have the best. This is one of my daughters, Daisy. She's by far the most amazing kid in the world besides the other before I have. She is my favorite because she's the one in the pen right now. I mean, you Daisy, you're always my favorite. All right, so the release of pressure. But I have to help the horse out sometimes. So what I want is I want the horse to move towards me, right? Well, I have to kind of help him. I have to block the other directions because he's used to moving away. So I'm going to take him alongside a fence. I'm going to be kind of in front of him so he can't go forward. He can't go left. So the only other option is up, down, or to the right. Okay? Going to the right is easier than going up or down. I keep him moving forward because if I do, I have a better chance of not up or down. Okay? So I'm going to keep him moving. I'm then going to tap on him. It doesn't matter where. You can tap on the saddle. You can tap on the neck. You can tap wherever you want. It doesn't matter. Remember, be you. Do something you can replicate. All right, so I'm going to walk him forward. I'm going to tap. When he moves towards me, I'm going to stop tapping. All right? I'm going to pick up the whip. If he moves without me tapping, then I'm not going to tap. Right? It's only if he doesn't move towards me that I tap on him. If I don't need to motivate him to do it, then I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to overuse my cue. Generally, it takes one time around an arena to teach it, okay? And then I'll move off the fence a little bit, and then I'll move to the mounting block, okay? With the mounting block, I'll take it up alongside the fence, so the fence is behind me. I'll take him on this side of the fence. I'll climb up on the mounting block, okay? And I will tap. When he takes one step towards me, I'm going to stop tapping, and I'm going to pet him. You're making me way too hard, and they can hear me breathing, okay? We gotta chill. All right. So then I'm going to tap again. When he moves one step, I'm going to pet and say, good job. If he moves more, great, all right? I'm going to tap again, ask him to move more. Good job. When the horse comes over, I'm going to really tell him, yes, this is what I want. This is good. You're doing great, okay? Move him away again. And tap. Now, if you want the stirrup to line up with you, keep his head to the left of you, okay? So kind of keep his head over here. Ask him to come. And he'll bring the stirrup right up to you. So that's how the up of the mounting block gets fixed by that, okay? Plus they learn to stand still while you're getting on. Because if he were to move away from the mounting block, I have a cue to bring him back up. I don't have to get down. I don't have to carry the mounting block to the stirrup. I don't have to keep chasing him with the mounting block. We've all seen the people that do that, right? Okay, so we've all been the person that does that, right? So, we'll just admit it right away. I did it. I'm guilty. All right, so that's how I do the mounting block, all right? Now, how I would do something, let's see. I would go for the easiest thing first when starting an obstacle. So let's go to something easy like the milk cartons, okay? So, I'm already able to ask the horse to go forward, right? I'm already able to control the front feet, and I can control the hind feet, okay? So, I'm going to ask the horse to walk into the milk cartons. If he looks at them, I'm going to let him. Do not try to hold him or pick his head up or anything like that. I'm going to... I love you. I'm going to control his head. I won't let his head go up, but I'll let it go down. Okay? What I mean by that is I'll put pressure on the rein. When he puts his head down, I release that pressure. If he wants to kick all these, great. Let him play. It's okay, it's his first obstacle. Let him kind of play with that. Stop here. Now I'm going to start controlling him in this obstacle. I'm going to say, okay, hey, do you remember how you could bring your hip to me? Remember that thing? Yeah. Can you do one of my tools while you have... Can you do it while being distracted? Because that's all obstacles are distractions, right? And we're just trying to see how much training we have under a distraction. So I'm going to play in here. While it's easy, I'm going to play. So I'm going to say, okay, go forward. No, go forward. As he's confused here, I keep giving my cue to go forward. As soon as he goes forward, I stop. Now I'm going to say, move your front feet away. Move your hind feet. Good. Move your hind feet back towards me. Move your front, move your head down. Now go forward. Good. And I just play, right? So I just tinker in here, because this is easy, right? Now I'm going to go over and go to the tarp, because that's pretty easy, right? So I'll go to the next easiest thing, right? I'm going to ask the horse to go forward. If your horse gets afraid of it here, don't sit here and try to manage it here. Go back a little bit and start saying, okay, forward. Move your shoulders. Disengage your hips. Forward. Move your shoulders. Forward. Good. Disengage your hips. So I'm practicing good stuff with a little bit of a distraction. If you can't do it this close, do it over here. Okay? You only get to go as close as the horse will let you go. Alright? But practice good things. What I mean by that is you have to feel like, or you have to remember, training is like a math equation. If you practice wrong, let's say you can't get a horse up to an obstacle. Let's say something over in that arena is scaring them. If I go over there and I do the training technique of work where they're afraid, you work them hard so that they learn not to be afraid over there. The thing with that is let's say it takes you 45 minutes to get them to calm down. It took you 44 minutes to get it right? Because for 44 minutes, their head was up, they were fighting you were really pushing and struggling. So for 44 minutes, you struggled. The last minute, all of a sudden they calm down, we go, see? Good job. And we stop, right? So when we stop and when we say good job, then we only did it for a minute. So we practice bad things for 44 minutes and practice good things for 1 minute. Was your horse a failure? Or was your horse a succeed? Well, he failed. Because if you do it, he only got 1 out of 45 minutes right. So you want to practice good. So if I can only be good up in this corner, I'm going to get really good and get under control here. Then I'm going to move closer, and I'm going to move closer pretty soon. Because I just added the distraction piece by piece, he never gets distracted enough to do bad stuff. Okay? So, I'm going to work, and then I'm going to get closer and closer. Alright, so now I can walk up to the tarp. I'm going to ask the horse to drop his head. If he drops his head and looks at it, great. If he's looking up and being afraid, then I'll ask him to go forward. If he goes forward and goes over it, great. Disengage the hips. Now, if he were to start moving away from me, and I couldn't get him, he just kept on going in a circle around the tarp, we've all done that, right? Where he stood in the middle and the horse was running around the outside. I wouldn't allow that. Because I have a tool in my tool bag to say, no, come back. So if he started going around and leaving me and not coming forward, I now can say, hey, bring your hip back over here and move forward. So I have that tool to be able to get him to go straight. Okay? All right, so that's the tarp. You can also use the tarp, you know, like getting them desensitized to it. You can shake it in front of them and get them to follow it. That sometimes helps horses because chasing stuff they love. That's why I use cows in my clinics for people and for horses that are getting afraid, because chasing something is fun, right? So, well, you can't stand on it. So I'll have them follow it, and then, okay, back up. And then what I call desensitizing is just rubbing on. I am not a fan of desensitization. Now you've got to do a little bit in your program with your horse because you need your horse to be a little desensitized to stuff. But what you want to think about when you're desensitizing is use it as an opportunity to gain better control. Don't use it, don't think like when they move, you get scared of it, go, yes. Yes, because now I get to tell him to stop while he's distracted or while he's out of control. Don't think, why can't he just get over this? Because someday this tarp is going to be a dog coming at you or a llama or something like that. And you'll be able to say, hey, listen to me, even though you're afraid. Okay, so every time a horse gets afraid and you're able to pick up the rein and stop them, that is an awesome opportunity to gain better control. Okay, obviously, that is better to do on the ground than on their back. All right, so walking over a tarp, pretty darn easy. Okay, walking over a bridge, that would be next. Now, I've already walked over a tarp. I've already walked through cartons. I want them to get used to walking straight like I did with the tarp. So the bridge, I will keep his body straight if, you are doing so good now for us. Good. Good for you. Just so you know, first bridge, we actually haven't done that yet. All right, so here I have to use my tool to straighten them up. Now I have to use my tool to get them back that way straight. Get your hips away. Good. Good. Now go forward. No. I lined you up wrong. Good. Good. You want a horse to go over a bridge looking at it. So as they go over, make sure that you pick up that rein, hold it until they put their head down. I was judging the super horse competition, and I would give an extra point if the horse would look down at that bridge and the rider gave him his head. Okay, so judges like when a horse looks at it. So drop their head when you're teaching them. Look where your feet are going. Look at it, right? I will also ask them to go over a bridge sideways. Now stop. Good. Good. Now go forward. Now stop. No, disengage the hips. I'd asked you to stop. Good. If I can't get him to stop up on the bridge, I will still make sure that I get the cue afterwards, right? Because I had picked up that rein to say stop and he didn't listen. So when that happens, I'm going to make sure I pick up the rein no matter where he's at and get him to stop. Good, Forrest. Good for you. All right? Next thing I will do is I would do something like with the tires. Now, what they were doing in the super horse is they were putting these pretty close together and asking the horses to go through them. Not step into them, but walk through them. Of course, Forrest wants to just walk through them, which is fine, we'll allow it. So, that's just one more step. Easy. If you put your stuff in steps like this and you don't try to rush, everything looks this easy. Okay? If you try to rush it, that's when things look hard. Alright, so L shape. I'm going to walk a minute, make sure he's okay. Then I'm going to back him up. Now here, I can already start practicing my L and how to move his hips because I have that tool. So, no, come towards me. No, come towards me. Good. 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 Now back up. Good. Come towards me just a little bit. Good. And back up. Do you see where the tools come in handy? Are you kind of seeing that? Why we trained it first before coming to obstacles? Because I can kind of fix things. I can kind of make things happen right away. But if you don't have those tools there, then it's unbelievably hard to manage. Okay? And then you're just fighting with them, right? Come towards me. Come towards me. Line back up. Good. And back up. Good. Now hips towards me. Good. Front feet away from me. And back up. Good. All right, side passing is the same thing as the shoulder, right? When I have the horse walk forward, right, and I pick up the rein and tell the horse to move away from me, that's the exact same as a side pass, except for I'm just going to hold a little bit more longer until he goes directly to the side. Okay? So I'm going to practice out here. Good. Then I'm going to go back to my L. Obviously, I'm doing this all on the left-hand side because I have an hour. Okay, but you at home would do it on both sides. So which way am I going? Right. Oh, we're going right here. You know. All right, so side pass. Good. Good. Now hips. Good. Now side pass. No. Hips. I stop the hips from walking too far forward. And side pass. So now I know that...
15 minutes.
Well, that's not fair.
That's sorry. I know you didn't like
that. Makes me just want to cry because I'm not even close. Hurry up. Wow, Sharon. That's somebody that has gone through one of my clinics, so they feel like they can just talk to me however. You know, we become friends, and then friends be mean, and whatever. I'll just cry later, I'm okay. All right, so I'm gonna get on and do this all on his back. Because he's so tall, I'm going to get on the mounting block. Because I don't want to make too much of a fool of myself. All right, when you're doing obstacles, guys, equipment is important. When you add distraction to a horse, not only you better make sure that you have control of your horse, but you better have good equipment. And when I'm talking about good equipment is a good bridle, good reins that aren't going to come unattached. Did you guys hear that? That was terrible. A good saddle pad. A good saddle pad is so important, guys. It's more important than you think. If you talk to any, trainer that really work horses, the saddle pad is going to be the first thing they say. Get a good one, right? Wait. You want a good saddle, a good fitting saddle, one that's made with good leather, comfortable. Everybody worries about weight and all that kind of stuff, but you guys, you need to worry about good leather. I promise. I've seen so many wrecks in this industry just because of that. You need good stirrups that you're comfortable, okay? That's about it. Now, I believe in a snaffle bit because I like doing things, that are mild to a horse. I don't want to use pain as a distractant. But guess what? It doesn't matter. Because have you seen Craig do amazing things in a hackamore? Yes. Have you seen Bob Avila do amazing things in a correction bit? Yes. Have you seen John Lyons do things amazing in a snaffle bit? Yes. Have you seen people do amazing things in a side pull? Yes. So does it matter? No, quit spending your money on that nonsense. Now, if you want to spend money, I'll sell you something, but you don't need to. You only need to learn and use your hands correctly and use your feet correctly. And education is where it's at, not in changing equipment. As long as your equipment's good, you're good to go, okay? All right, so obstacles. If you notice, my horse hasn't changed that much since I got on it, right? It's because I already did all the work. So this part's easy, right? All right, let me talk about the backing up of the L, because I see a lot of things with this. What I notice with people is they do a lot of this. Okay, where am I going? Where? Go straight, and you'll be all right. Okay? If you feel the hips, if you line yourself up straight, you won't have to look behind you. All right? Plus, look at the one right here by your side. Keep that one right by your foot. Don't worry about this one on this side. If this one stays by this foot, you're good, right? So that's the one I watch. The reason I also watch that is because when a judge is judging, we don't want to see this stuff. Because when you look this way and you pull back, your horse wants to move his hip this way because you're pushing with this hip, right? And so then, you're going back and forth, plus you're putting a lot of pressure on your horse's back, okay? So look down at the one that's comfortable. I always like looking to my left, although Al Dunning told me I never ride the right side of my horse, so maybe that's, anyway. But I look to my left. When you want to disengage your hip, it's your outside rein. That'll move your hip to the left, okay? I'll do it right now, sorry. Both reins are even. Don't get into going, hurry back, because hurry back does that. Horse's head goes up, mouth opens, one step at a time. I was talking to a girl that's in the super horse right now, and I just told her, hesitate, wait, be patient. Walk up, stop, line up, good. Nose to the right, hips to the left. That's enough. Right. And he's more in a rush this time because of what I just did. Did you guys kind of see that? Me getting all after him. He's like, okay, next time I'm gonna be nervous because she's gonna rip on my face. Right? So slow down. Slow your cues down. Walk up, stop. Even on both reins, unless you feel the hip moving. There, good. Good, Forrest, and back up. Nice head set, soften the nose, drop the head, release. Soften the nose, back up, drop the head, release. Soften the nose, back up, release. Okay? Obstacles are just distractions. They are not where you train your horse. You train your horse before you get to the obstacle. You gain control of your horse before you get to the obstacle. What that means, what training means, is that when you pick up your right rein, they'll turn right. When you pick up both reins, they'll stop. When you pick up, good boy. When you pick up, when you disengage your hip with one rein, you disengage their hip. Because you have to use all that. Because when a horse gets emotional, like Forrest was today, it still kind of is, he loses a little bit of his training. When you add distraction, you add emotion, you lose training. So you have to get it 150% without distraction, and then start adding little bits of distraction. And then a little bit more, and a little bit more, and a little bit more. While you train, pretty soon, you have them completely under control while they're distracted. And he's a baby, he's not a baby, but he hasn't been rode for the last year of his life either. He just started getting rode a couple weeks ago. And this is hard for him. But he's still remembering most of everything we taught him. That's how cool horses are. Even he's free, even though he's not with his friend, even though he's in a new area, he's He's only lost about 20% of his training. They're gonna do that. So plan for that. Don't get 100%. Get 150%, because if you lose 20, you still got a good horse, right? I want to thank you guys all for coming out. Little thing really quick. I'm just going to tell you what's going on inside. I'm going to step up first because I don't know what he's going to do when you guys... And I am not going to cowboy up and see what he's going to do. Okay? I'm going to do it right, because if I'm down here and you guys clap, I can gain control, I stay alive, and I don't look dumb. Right? It's all about that for me. Anyway, you know, what was I going to say?
You have 5 minutes, really.
I do?
Honestly.
Oh my gosh. Okay, question. Let's do that. Any questions? Yes, ma'am. Okay, so what her question is, she couldn't see my cue between going forward and then moving the hip, going forward and moving the hip towards me. Okay, remember, don't worry about that. Do what comes natural to you. How does the horse know? I don't know, but I do know I change enough. Now I'm going to tell you what I do, but please don't worry about me. Like, I promise. Because I've seen some people try to be me, and they can't remember, right? And so just do what comes natural. Just think, you know, what comes natural. Now what I do is when I want the hip to come towards me, I kind of lean back. Like I'm going, come on, come on, come on. I'm egging them back. But if I want them to go forward, I kind of step into them and go, come on, go this way. I also step, if you notice, a little bit back. I step back by their shoulder. Oh my gosh. I step back by their shoulder and tell them to go forward. Okay? So, and then if you also notice, this is like, I really should tell you, but when I want the hip to come towards me, I'll tap up on the hip. But if you notice, I'll kind of tap on the belly when I want them to go forward. But that's just me. It's just what makes it easy for me. Yeah, it can be anywhere, but if you do it subconsciously, I promise you will do it different. Barbara Schulte and I were talking about that this morning because my dad told her that years ago, and she was like, just don't get it. Like, how did you, you know, how does the horse know, and da 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 da. And it really is just a thought. It really is here. And if you leave it as a thought, you won't do something so big that somebody can see it. Again, cooler. And all of us want to look like we are being cool with our horses, and our horses just, you know, want to do what they, like they just know us, and they're just so cool, and we have this magnificent relationship, right? That's what we want. So try your best to just think with you and be you. Like, I can't express it enough. In the 15 years, okay, so I've been training and doing clinics since I was 17. Actually, this lady in this pink shirt, wave your hand, Molly, she came up to my dad at the Equine Fair in Ohio, and she said, you know, I want to book a clinic with John Lyons. I want to see if I can get him to come to my place. And I said, oh, I'm sorry, he's already booked for the year. But maybe the following year we can do it. She said, oh, I really want somebody. Does he have like trainers or like kids or something? I'm probably, I mean, I was either 16 or 17 at the time. I'm like, yeah, he's got me. Just like, oh, you do this? Absolutely I do. I've been doing it for years, right? She's like, really? And I'm like, oh, yeah, I'm a pro. How much will you pay me? You know? Now, mind you, okay, I'm 17. She goes, well, I'd like 2 clinics and like a 3-day where you break some of my horse. But I'll charge you $3,000 a clinic. She goes, really? That's it? I'm like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. Yes, Yes, that's my charge. I'm really cool, that's my charge. And so she booked me, and it was the most amazing. She started me in my career of clinics. So I went back every year for 10 years, Molly? Even with my kids, once I started having my kids and that. Anyway, but then like most of you moms, we have kids, right? And then our kids are most important, right? So I had to stay home. I couldn't travel as much and do the expos and the clinics and all that. So I started becoming a monthly trainer. It was the first time in our family that any of us had become a monthly type trainer. So for the last 15 years, I have taken horses in and trained horses at home. Best experience of my life because I got to know you guys. I got to know people better. I didn't just get 4 days with them. I got months with people, you know, and I got to understand what you're really wanting, you know, what you're really needing. And I started going, wait, they can't ride like us, you know? Wait, how can a short-legged woman ride like a long-legged man? You know, how can a long-legged woman ride like a short-legged man? I mean, how can we ride like Chris? He's too short. Oh, just kidding. I didn't say that. I'm just kidding. We were all giving each other a hard time for that last night. Anyway, there's that big joke between Craig and Chris of who's taller. But anyway, we can't do that. Plus, we concentrate on where hands are and all that kind of stuff, and people have a hard time replicating because that's what they're thinking about. But if I put you on a cow, and I have you chase a cow, or I have you chase a soccer ball, or if I have you doing something, guess what? You do it. You do your hands right. You start communicating with the horse. The horse starts knowing you, so that taught me, wait a minute, I need to shut up, right? I need to let you guys ride. All I need to do is put you on exercises that make you do the right things. I need to put you on some things that and I've learned those exercises. Just like we've learned the exercises to get the horses under control, I've learned exercises to get people's bodies to do the right thing. And so that's what I've learned, is don't worry. Be you. You will do it right. Get yourself focused on doing something with your horse, and you and your horse will get together. All right? I promise. Okay? There's some easy exercises that makes it really nice. Remember, obstacles are after you train. Don't go and start pushing a horse that's afraid to get over it. Kind of like me taking, let's say, Sharon, you're afraid of spiders? Oh, are you afraid of snakes? All right. So it's like me taking Sharon, but mind you, she's 1,000 pounds and she can whoop my butt. I mean, you probably still can, but anyway. But let's just say she can whoop my butt, and I'm going to hold her in a cage of snakes. Do you think that's going to happen? No. So why aren't we trying to do it with horses? Now, mind you, because horses are so amazing, 80% of that, we're winning. 80% of the time, we manage through it. Man, who's been hurt during that 20%? Is that 20% worth it? It's not. It's not worth it. Do the training, get that horse listening to you, then start adding small distractions, and then it becomes easy. Does that make sense? And remember, don't get their attention, don't get their respect, their love, get their feet first. Get their feet under control, get them doing all sorts of different stuff. You get to pick. You get to choose what angles and where you want their feet to go. It's your horse. It's not my horse, it is yours. Nobody gets to tell you what to do with your horse. It is yours. If you like the head high, great. Keep the head high. If you want the head down on the ground, great. It is your